Hi, Fran.
Paul's there, yeah.
There he is.
Afternoon.
Hello. Good
Oh,
morning.
I can't hear anything.
Oh no.
Are you muted? No?
Uh,
Turn your sound up.
I can't hear any sound. Why is that?
Is your sound on? Is it on and turned up? Volume?
He might have a music
Oh.
program running too. Like I know sometimes if he's been recording on the
Yeah.
computer, it may switch the audio. Yeah. All right. Well, how are you? Well, while he's working on
Have you
that.
turned the volume up?
Yeah, I can't hear any sound.
Have you got it switched to your audio, to your recording studio?
Didn't think, no. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll take that out. Yeah, let's take that out. I haven't tried this before, so that's probably what it is. Take that out.
Do you have bank holidays where you are?
Yes, we do, but today is not one of them. So some of the places took off on Friday, but although the kids are home today, so that's fun.
Okay.
Good times.
Yeah, we get bank holiday Friday and Monday on Easter weekend, so
Nice. That's good.
that seems to be countrywide. Right. You sorted yet, Paul?
Just the same. It is what you said, but I'm just doing it a different way. So
Okay.
I've not tried this before. So I'm on a new computer, which is much better, much faster, but it just means it's not tried and tested. So here we go. So I'll put that in there.
So how many coaching sessions do you do in a day, darling?
Well, today I have back-to-back starting from now until 9 p.m. So 12 hours in a row. So that's unusual.
Really? Wow.
It just was the way it worked out today. I typically only do 3 or 4 a day.
Right. Okay.
But one of those is like group coaching. It's for mentorship tonight. So that's different flavor. I don't do that many one-on-ones. I usually take about 5 one-on-one clients at the time. So because I like to be able to give attention, especially with the Voxer in between. So
yeah. Cool.
It's made a lot of difference to me, actually. It really is.
I know you've used it, which is good. Not everyone does, but
it really helps me keeping the flow, actually, to be honest. I mean, probably a little bit too much, actually, because but yeah, it just helps. So I wish I'd had a coach earlier because it's just so beneficial because I'm very keen on coaching now.
Good. Well, I'm glad, and I'm excited to talk about the gym today. So I know, Fran, like I'm sure Paul's told you, but we've been talking about you a lot with all of your gifts and talents and how you two work together so well and everything. So I'm excited to hear what the original vision was for the gym and how you're feeling about it now. And let's see what we can do to see what the Lord has told you to in the last week about what his heart is for that. Would love to hear that.
Well, the original vision, funnily enough, was to support Paul with his music.
Oh,
he's probably forgotten that, but that was the original vision, was that I could do the gym and get an income from that so that he could do what he wanted to do with composing and I think then it was like performing, and he'd done he went to university and did music and related arts degree, and he had done he tried pursuing teaching but sort of got bored with that, and he was starting to sort of get into composing, but he was
I went back to software for quite a bit though, Fran. Remember there was that period where went back as a contractor, didn't I? Just before you started.
Yeah, that was after you stopped teaching in order so that we could have kids. So
that's great.
So we had the kids, and it was when Sarah was about 3. I was doing I went to college to do beauty and I wanted to do hairdressing because I wanted to have a side business that I could run from home.
Yeah.
Because I got bored just looking after kids, and I couldn't get into the hair. I was too late to start the hairdressing. It was Paul's suggestion, actually. I was doing his hair one day, and he went, "Well, why don't you?"
Was that?
Yeah, I was doing the the thing in your hair. And you're like, "What? Well, why don't you do hairdressing?" I was like, "Oh, do you know what? That's a really
I'm
good
good at
idea."
coming up with these suggestions.
So I went to the college, and they were full up for hairdressing. So I thought, well, I'll do something related for a year. So I did beauty therapy. The plan was to switch to hairdressing after a year, but I liked it so much that I continued with the beauty therapy. And then I was just about to start the third year. I was going to do sort of like deep massage and like a more intense beauty therapy course for a year, and then this Curves opened up in Cowplain, just up the road from us, and I joined there as a member, and we were going to church in Lee, and we'd been doing that for a year, and the plan was, so back then I think we thought we were being groomed for a position in the church. We were sort of led to believe that God kind of moved us across to Lee, and then we talked about moving, because it was about half an hour journey from where we lived, and we talked about going to live there, and we actually started looking at houses, and then I went, hang on a minute, because I'd done really well with Curves. I'd lost weight, I got my figure back, I was really fit, and the energy, because I get quite sort of fizzy inside if I don't do physical stuff.
Oh yeah, no, everyone does that, yeah.
So I was like, hang on a minute, they haven't got a Curves over here, we can't move here. And I was kind of half joking, but Paul went home. I didn't know this at the time, but we went home, and he had a look on his computer, and he said, it's a big successful franchise, why don't you open one in Lee? And I was like, don't be daft, that's a really daft idea. I couldn't do something like that.
It's me again.
And then and he kind of investigated it, and he's like, yeah, but it's a big franchise, you get a lot of help, blah blah blah, it's not that expensive, we've got equity in the house, da da da. He's like, why don't you talk to Jim, the owner of the Cowplain one?
He was very successful, wasn't he?
Yeah,
well?
He was basically a retired entrepreneur. He used to buy failing engineering businesses, build them up, and then sell them. And so he was like a millionaire. And he'd retired, but they used to spend 6 months in America. And his wife found these Curves in America, and she did really well, lost weight, blah blah blah. And then she'd come back over to England for her 6 months in England, and then put it all back on again. So she basically said to her husband, you have to get me a Curves in the UK. So he started running the UK. And when I spoke to him, he's like, yeah, we'll support you, we'll give you lots of help. They were quite firm that they didn't want, because their original vision was to have 5 Curves, in a circle. But having done one, and he was planning to open a second one, he decided that actually it was too time consuming, and he didn't want to do any more than 2 or 3. And so he wasn't interested in the Lee Gosport territory, so he was quite happy to support me. And in fact, all of the Curves that ended up opening up around him were all members of his original Curves, the one that he started in Cowplain. And they all, there was about 5 of us kind of went out and, planted one where we happened to be living. So that sparked the idea. He said, yes, it's successful. The marketing isn't that professional. There are bits of it that are a bit where they just give it to family. In America, the guy that started it, he said, but it's not. And
Curves was a Christian. The guy Gary
Hagan was a Christian.
Is a Christian entrepreneur as well.
So we started looking at that. We got a prophetic word in the church at Lee as well at the time, and we felt, that we should go ahead with it. And at the time, it was very much, well, if we can have a successful business that is primarily me, then Paul wouldn't have to have a full-time job working, doing something that he was just doing to earn the money. Because when he's full-time with that, he didn't have any time to do music.
And I did resign from EDS.
Yeah.
So I actually had probably the best paying job I'd ever had. And it was very boring, but I resigned from that.
So he gave up. So at the point, so we started planning it together. We took equity out of our house because we'd almost paid our mortgage off at the time, and we started the business. At the point that we were actually ready to open and get money, start getting revenue, Paul gave up his job. We didn't move over to Leeds straight away because we thought it was a bit much to start a business, move house, and move the kids over schools all at the same time. So we stayed living in Waterlooville for about 6 months, and then we sold the house and rented, which everybody told us we shouldn't do as well. But we did that, and then bought another house sort of about 4 years later. So that worked quite well. But the thing that we hadn't really planned for was that initially, the first sort of 2-3 years, I couldn't do it on my own. I really needed Paul's help. So he did all the accounts, he did all the business side, he helped with the marketing and the advertising. I mean, they didn't have Facebook advertising back then, I don't think, or if they did, we weren't doing it. We did flyers and, magazine ads and all that kind of thing.
A very basic website.
Yeah. So he used to come and work. He has an office in the club, and he used to come and work there for most of the day, and then he would go pick the kids up. So we sort of swapped roles. He sort of looked after the kids in the house, and did the account.
They still tell me about it to this day.
So it was a bit of a culture shock for Paul, but in terms of our marriage, it was very helpful because up to that point it had all been lopsided the other way. Like I did all the kids and the home stuff, so it meant we were much more sort of equal now, in abilities to muck in. And then it was about maybe, when did you start your driving? How long have you been doing curves?
Oh dear, I did driving for 7 years.
So it must have been about.
I stopped that in 2019, so just before lockdowns and all that stuff, I'd stopped my driving instruction business.
Right.
So about the middle section.
Yeah. Okay. So about 5 years into curves, we kind of got a fairly even keel, and Paul did a certain amount, and I managed the business and the staff and was there sort of day to day. And the plan was, we had his office soundproof, so the plan was he was gonna do the curve stuff, but then also do music and compose and record and all of that stuff. But in practice, he got really bored, and socially found it too lonely to just be in that office all day. So that was fine. So he didn't really kind of get to grips with the music.
That's why I did the driving, actually, because I enjoyed getting out and about. And
that's when he decided to do the driving. And the coaching aspect and the people confidence was really good for that. Yeah. So I can sort of see God's plan in that. That's made him a lot more confident with people.
That was critical for my development, wasn't it? Actually, just being able to talk to people and anybody, because I was doing it all day and coach. I learned that well in that scenario.
Yeah, so he was doing that. I was doing curves, and the music composition didn't really sort of come to fruition until.
Can I just mention something, Fran? Just so it highlights to me. Do you remember the moment I remember as well, which is one of those worst moments? Do you remember 2009? I can remember the year when you were going through that really bad stuff, when you were really depressed, and I was really worried at because you got to that point of burnout, and the business was, and you had that rebellion on your hands with the staff, and
we had a manager that was basically sort of quite controlling and working against me with the staff. So anything that I tried to do directly with the staff, they kind of dug their heels in. And then I sort of faced the manager with it at the time, and she made an excuse and resigned. She she didn't say why. She said it was because her husband was doing something. So anyway, she resigned, and then I had to take over as manager, which was actually what we really needed. But then all the staff left. So we had that year was
Literally,
like
wasn't it?
hell. My dad died.
Oh, that's right. That was, yeah, it was
I
all
had
came
breast
together.
lumps. I had costochondritis in my chest.
Oh my.
It was,
But Fran, but God was working, wasn't he? Because I just remember that time, that costochondritis. You didn't know what that was, and it was driving you insane.
yeah.
And then the Holy Spirit just got me to go onto Google or something like that, and I somehow just found the name of it. And once we had the name of it, it was defeated. It was so interesting, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that was
Actually, that was before we started Curves. That was at the point we started Curves.
Yeah. It was ongoing. Though.
Yeah. The year we lost all the staff. So literally in one weekend we went from, it was a bank holiday Monday, I think. We went from having staff fairly fully staffed on the Friday to having nothing at all the following week, and we had to hire and regroup. And Curves was quite helpful. They sent a coach to help kind of get us going again.
Yeah, we had their support at that point.
New staff, but it took us a while to kind of get staff that we needed, and but we built up from there. And because I was managing it myself, it started to get a lot more. The quality was much better. The staff engagement was much better. Because that was part of my issue with the manager, Amanda, was that she wasn't really training them to my standards. She was kind of fluffing it a bit, and the fact that I was getting in between that was annoying her and also annoying the staff. So it was better that it was just me. And then we sort of built it up from there to what it is now. But then we left Curves in 2018. 2017, 2018, because they were just getting really money grabbing, and we didn't really need their coaching anymore. I kind of knew what to do, and their ideas, I wasn't really keen on a lot of their ideas. They were going one way, we were going the other. So in the end, I said, you know what, I don't want the franchise anymore. So we had to fight a little bit of a legal battle on that, because they basically.
Was that before we had Fareham, or?
No, that was after. Oh, that's right. We bought a second club.
Yeah.
So we bought a second club for a very, very low amount of money because they wanted to close it. And they offered it us a year before that, and we said no, and then they came back the following year and basically said, we'll give it to you for £200. So we thought, we can't go wrong.
The thing is, it wasn't a good location, as we found out. That
bad location
on the high street, but it was impossible.
It was a completely different kettle of fish. The social place there was totally different from Gosport, very unfriendly, very sort of snobby, and very difficult to get into. And that lasted for about 2 years, but trying to run 2 clubs was horrible. I hated it. So Gosport kind of went downhill. Fareham didn't really take off, and in the end, we closed Fareham. We just Again, we lost two of our staff resigned, and I didn't have enough.
We learned quite a bit from that, didn't we, Fran? Actually,
we did.
And I think you realised. I think what I saw was that you didn't enjoy so much the entrepreneurial side of the business. You liked it was your values. It was about the business was about you.
I like being in there.
You did well, didn't it? Because people liked you, and if you could get your coaches to do what you did, it was great. Yeah. But it was hard to do that over to one club, let alone 2 clubs. So.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be just training all the time, which is the way it was. I was just rushing between one thing and the other. I didn't enjoy it. So then when we got back to just Gosport, then we got rid of the Curves aspect. It was just us then, and the staff, and we started building Gosport back up again, which was really good. We raised the prices. I
got more involved, didn't I? And sort of
helping with the marketing and everything, and then COVID hit.
Yeah, that was do you know, I felt that so frustrating, Frank, because it was like we were doing so well, weren't we, right up to that point?
Yeah.
It's like we were growing, we were getting to grips with marketing, and
but then all the roles that you were doing in Curves, in it's now Ladies First Fitness, all the roles that you were performing were gradually handed over to me. So you were doing payroll, I got that. You were doing admin, I took that. The only thing.
How did you feel about that, Fran?
Oh no, I that was fine. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, fine, or you're passionate about it. I'm really trying to wrap my head around what part of this gym you are passionate about. I realize you got success, but what I'm hearing is very much, this is a money-making venture. This is why I'm doing it. It was designed for you to run so Paul could work on his music, yet throughout most of this, it hasn't allowed Paul to completely focus on his music because he's been pouring into it. So the questions that I have right now are, number one, is this your passion? That's my number one question. No. Okay. That's what I thought. Number two, did God tell you to open this gym originally, or was this the idea you and Paul put your heads together to figure out?
At the time, I think it was a little bit of both. We did feel that God was telling us to do it.
What were those signs that you knew it was God telling you to do it?
We had a word in the church, didn't we? We had a word in the church, and the fact that we had all the support from the guy in Waterlooville.
It felt like we were going. I suppose at the time it felt like, when you're moving forward and it seems to be like, oh, that door's opening, that door's opening. It felt
so
like
you were following favor. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
That's fine. I don't think we would have jumped out without, because there was a strong faith element in both of us, because I don't think it was so out of our ballpark and so out of our comfort zone. I can't imagine I would have done it without the faith, really, because it was
and that's fine. It's a question that has to be asked.
I personally think God was. It wasn't a direct word. I mean, I had a direct word for us to move, and then this set of circumstances happened, and so I think from that regard, I felt like God was saying, "Do this right now."
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. And then what in the last week? What has God been saying to you about the business? Is this a move forward and transform, or is this a leave gracefully? What have you been hearing or sensing from the Lord in the last week about this?
We felt more that it's time, like the business has developed us both the way that we needed, because I think it was more that running the business developed us more than we developed the business, if you know what I mean. I mean,
I think that's good, Fran. I
don't think we'd be the people we are today if we hadn't started Curves.
Because we've been through challenges, haven't we? That the tested
it's given us a lot of strength. It's given us a lot of skills. I think it's brought out parts of our personality and gifts that we've got that we would never have known. If I'd stayed at IBM and gone back and done part-time after I had the kids, I don't think I'd be the person I am now.
For sure. You went through a lot of tests during this time, for sure. And
although I'm not passionate about running a gym, I'm passionate about helping people. I love helping people. I like training. I like training people. I like pursuing quality. I don't like doing things half-hearted. I think that's why I didn't like running the two gyms, because I like to do it properly. And I enjoy the sales. I didn't know I was a good salesperson back then.
Do you enjoy that the most, actually, in some ways? Or
I do, yeah.
Right. I thought like that. Yeah.
I like helping people. I like watching people achieving goals. I like seeing people, being really happy with losing the weight. And
I mean, you're a good coach as well, aren't you? That's the other thing.
I like coaching
you're
people.
You're a really good coach. Superb coach.
And I like the social aspect of the group aspect and being in front of people. I love all of that.
You're not scared of being in front of people, are you, Fran? That's
no, not at all.
I would never say that. Yes, you guys are both very much social butterflies, which is very good. That helps you in any business.
Paul didn't used to be.
No, I didn't give
Really?
them.
Yeah, but
No?
you didn't, but God was talking to you, Paul, because you didn't like being locked away in that room by yourself. He was
Yeah,
talking to
exactly.
you, telling you to
What
get out with people, you know? So,
that's why the
When we
driving
first got
instruction for me was
married,
really good because it got me out with people and it got
yeah,
me, you know.
okay.
Anyway, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So it sounds to me like the gym venture is what I'll
Mhm.
call it has
Yeah.
served wonderful
Purpose.
purposes for
Yeah.
both you professionally and personally, because you said it enhanced your marriage too, with
Mhm.
some of
Yeah.
the ways you did things allowed you to collaborate, cooperate, which I do believe, it's interesting. I coach a lot of couples, and sometimes each person like kind of has their own thing, but sometimes God has called couples to really partner together in powerful ways, and I sense
Yeah.
that anointing for you guys.
Mhm.
My next question for you, Fran, is like, if you could do, Paul, close yours. If you could do anything in the world that you wanted to do, okay, and money were not an issue, what would you be doing right now?
That is a good question. Um, I don't think I know.
Okay, fair enough.
Honestly, don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So I'm going to give you a little assignment for this week.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to make a list of all your passions in life. Okay.
Mhm.
You mentioned a lot of them on this call, so you'll have the replay. You can go back and listen to them, all of that, like even from hairdressing to beauty to coaching to sales, and then all the things you're good at. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I want you to also think about what family mantles run in your family.
Oh,
Okay. Like
yeah.
what kind of gifting runs in your family. Okay. And just work on those lists. Okay. Without
Mhm.
trying to put them together yet. I
Mhm.
want you to just work on the list independently. Okay.
Mhm.
Because, um, I do believe like I feel like you're a butterfly still in the cocoon. And what happens a lot of the time, I mean, this butterflies, they like melt away, right? And then they don't know what they are. And it's this blob, and then it comes out as a butterfly. But you have everything within you to be that butterfly. And so let's figure out what the butterfly looks like, because that will be helpful to see if in this season too, whether you're called to, like, you and Paul are supposed to be building up Creatives Arise together,
Mhm.
or, and I know you're partnering with each other, but there's a difference in, like, you said you're an all in girl. I get it. I'm an all in girl too, right? Like, for you to just be all in and this is something you're doing together in this season, or is God like got a passion he's birthing in you for this season, and you're in still a, supportive, collaborative within your strengths role with Paul.
Mhm.
Okay. There could be one or the other. So that's what I'd love for you to take some time to just dive into that for you, because it's really important. Like, you both know this, you both deserve to be in the perfection with which God has called you for the season, right? And
Mhm.
so it's about that. I
Mhm.
would say for this gym, what did you guys do? Paul, did you do a valuation of the business if you sell it?
No, I haven't done that at all this week,
Okay.
actually. No.
Okay. Fran, do you have time to do that, or is that something your wheelhouse, or is that
Um,
more Paul?
what do you mean
Like,
a financial valuation?
yeah, like if you were gonna sell it, what you would make for
You'll
that?
probably be better at it than me, Fran. Actually, I started that web. Do you remember we started? I
Yeah.
started the page for it and
Yeah,
the list.
I could take a look at that because it's one of the
Yeah,
things that we need to do anyway. Because we do feel like we're at the point where we need to sell it now.
Yeah,
That's the
I
one.
I feel like that, yes, it served wonderful purposes for you
Mm.
guys, but honestly, with the story you told me, here's what it sounds like. You were solving a problem
Mm.
initially that was money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And because of that, the the passion didn't go with it. And here, this is the scripture that was highlighted to me this morning. It meant a lot
right.
to me. It'll mean something to you guys. It's
Mhm.
from John 10, 12, and 13. This is the Passion Translation. And don't just listen, and then I'll tell you what the Lord was speaking to me. The worker who serves only for wages is not a real shepherd. Because he has no heart for the sheep, he will run away and abandon them when he sees the wolf coming. And then the wolf mauls the sheep, drags them off, and scatters them. I'm not saying you didn't have a heart for your people, but this is what God showed me. For me, he said, look, you cannot be chasing money, right? You've got to be chasing, trust in him for the provision. He's a provision first God, right? And he probably used the gym in the season to provide, right? Totally fine, totally good. But now the passion, it's not there, right? So for you guys to continue this, yeah, I can help coach you figure out how to make this gym make bukudos of money, right? But that's not what you're called to do right now. So let's, what clearly, I know Paul, I mean, he's creatives arise. That's what he's called to for sure. And again, I don't know you well enough to know if you're partnering with him or you've got your own thing and supporting him, which is important. But what I can tell you 100%, it's not this gym for either one of you. The gym will be a distraction for Paul, and it's not a passion for you. So it would literally just be for money. And whenever that's your motivation, it's going to fall apart. And it's not, and you're not operating in your gifts. So let's do evaluation on it. And prayer is, God, open the door, just like he opened the door for you guys to get this thing off the ground. Open the door for the buyers to come in. Okay. And you've done well. You've stewarded well. Let me be very clear. You've done amazing. The fact you even kept your doors open through COVID. Oh my gosh, you're better than like 80% of the gyms out there. Like most people shut their doors. Even restaurants shut their doors, right? And people got to eat. So you've done well, but the season for that, I feel like it's done. I heard, as you were talking, Fran, I heard the Lord say, this is the day of redemption for you. And he's going to restore all that you put into it and then some. Okay. So you're going to have a financial blessing on the back of selling this that is going to allow you to not only bridge in the meantime, while Paul's building up his thing and you're doing whichever, right? And to do some investment into some support for you, Paul, to do some of those other things that you've got these ideas for, but should not be all you doing them, right? Does that make sense, guys?
That makes a lot of sense.
It's good to hear somebody else say it.
Yeah. I mean, this year we very much felt, I mean, we were almost ready to sell. We did actually have a buyer who I don't think would have been a good buyer, but before COVID started. So we were in the frame, the frame of thinking before COVID of selling. And then COVID hit, obviously. And then when we came back from COVID, it's like, well, we have to build it back up before we sell it. But now I'm bored with it. You know, I'm going through the motions and I'm just treading water.
It's just a job, isn't it?
Yeah. If you were to coach me to sort of build it up, I honestly think I would be backpedaling. You know, I would find it hard to push myself to go, oh well, let's do this. You know, because I feel like I've thrashed that thing to death now. Do you know what I mean? It's like
for sure. I gotcha.
We can't be faulted for not giving up, but that has a negative as well because it's
but
you know what I mean?
But you don't want to listen, when you're being called into a new season, you leave some things on the other side of the Jordan, and this is one to stay on the other side of the Jordan. Put it in someone else's hands who that's their passion, like that guy that trained you initially, right? God will bring somebody like that, right? Hand that baby off and move forward without any encumbrances, any hindrances. Get some capital, you know, whether you keep it in the bank or not. I don't know what y'all's banks are doing. Ours are in disaster over here. So I'm not keeping money in the bank right now, but you know, you'll be able to invest in, you know, people to do some of the things like Paul that you have vision to do, but you don't need to be the one doing them. You're the general, like I want you guys to understand, you are not the foot soldiers in the business. You
Yeah.
both have very strong apostolic calling. It's unusual to see two partners in a marriage with massive apostolic calling, but you both do, right? And so, like, you can't be coaching people at the gym. Like, that is not your business. You're like, you're visionaries, right? You're creatives. You're the ones, doing that and training people to do. You said yourself, training is one of
Yeah.
your gifts, Paul. I know that's one of your gifts too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have this like tiered system in whatever you're doing, right? Like, you train people to train people to train people to train people. You follow the vision God is giving you. Let somebody else deal with all the details, honestly. Like, Paul,
Yeah.
I know we're in the middle of working on this email sequence for you, which you need to write initially. But let me tell you what, you don't need to be the one managing that business on a day to day. Like, get the gym sold, hire yourself a VA to manage all that jazz, right? That's
Yeah.
tedious, boring, you don't want to do, right? I mean, let somebody else do that part so you can hear from God clearly, unencumbered, stay in your
That's
highest.
where both our strengths are, I think, actually, because when we get an idea, we're able to see it, right?
Yeah.
See what the result. We're able to see the idea and see how it works, and say how this will work for these people. We're able to sort of, I can't put it in words, but not everybody has that, do they? They can't always. They can't see the effect.
Yeah. When we were putting curves together and all the way through managing the gym and running that business, the vision, that the allegory, if you like, that sits, makes the most sense with me as to how we operate. It's like a ship. Paul is at the prow of the ship, going this direction, here, there. This is the way we go, and I'd be the one on the ship scurrying around and making it happen.
Okay.
So that was, that kind of how we.
That's great. That's a beautiful partnership.
Because Paul's good at planning, and he likes the timing of, like, he's always ahead of time. He hates being late.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to sort of plan for it well in advance.
Fran doesn't hate being late, unfortunately.
If he sees an iceberg, he's like, okay, like, start steering now to avoid it.
Yeah.
Whereas I like the thrill and excitement of deadlines, and
she likes the deadline.
That pushes you to get things done. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I like.
So, let me say though, Fran, with that gifting, you don't have to be the one doing the nitty gritty. Okay.
No,
you don't have to be the one doing that. Just because you're the one that gets it done, you can get it done by lighting a fire under someone else, right? That you've appointed to do the thing. So it takes a lot, like what God is building for you. I mean, it's a global thing, right? Obviously. I mean, it's going to be pretty massive what you're building. And so you have to be able to, like, as chief operating officer is what I would say, right? Get the right people in the right positions. And that takes being able to see who those people are, right? You obviously had a talent for that. You learned that through running the gym, right? Which managers to hire, which ones to fire. You've got to be able to do that. And then get the fire lit under them to get the business done at the deadline, right? But you're not the one doing all the details. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
All right. Okay. So action points for this week for the gym are: get evaluation put together. And even if you need to, I feel like there's somebody that you connected with before that can help you evaluate the gym, because I hear the Lord saying you're going to undervalue it. So get some help with somebody, whether it's the guy that helped you initially, maybe he can help you. If you still have contact with him, you can reach out to him. If you don't, there's somebody that runs a brick and mortar business that can help you evaluate the gym. Because I feel like what I'm hearing from God is there's a piece of it that you're not including in the valuation with what you're doing, and you need to include it. So get some help. Okay. The angels, go out, go give them help, go bring in the people. Okay. Cause there's somebody to help you with that. Get that evaluated. And then you don't need, Paul, I know you said before you guys hired somebody to help you sell the gym. You don't need to do that.
No,
Fran,
we'd already decided.
Your
Yeah.
sales skills are phenomenal. Phenomenal. You could make $500,000 working for somebody else doing sales if that's what you wanted to do. Okay. You do not need to hire a soul to sell that gym. You are the gold there. Okay. So listen, just get some help with the valuation. You guys are going to get it sold quickly. I feel like very quickly. You're going to have some capital to, you know, and you talk to God about what to do with that. But, you know, part of it I do think should be for support structure for Paul's business. And then Fran, as you do that identity work that I gave you, that identity homework, if God's birthing a different baby in you, right? A spiritual baby in you as well, then part of that capital could go towards that too, whether it's go be a hairdresser. I don't know, like whatever he's got for you, right? Like that'll take a little capital to get going, but use it for that because right now, like this is the time. This is the time. You've stewarded well. You're not just supposed to work the vineyard and never sell the grapes, right?
Yeah.
Never sell wine. So yeah.
No, I'm getting that. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of I think that's the direction that we were sort of heading anyway. So it's quite nice that that we're in agreement and that you've sort of seen that prophetically. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's very clear. I think at this point, if you were to keep that gym up, it would literally be like, this is the analogy God gave me in my head, is like if somebody comes to me as a patient and I'm a doctor and I'm not working with the root cause, but I'm just like, here, take this medicine. And then that medicine has a side effect. And oh, here, take this medicine for that side effect and so on and so on. That's what it would look like if you were going to continue the gym. So let's not do that. Let's get to the root. Let's get you guys going on to the new thing that God has for you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds
That's
good.
good to me. Yeah.
Perfect. All right,
Cool.
Paul, we got another 15 minutes to talk about Creatives Arise.
Okay. Do you want me to stay in for this, Paul, or do you want me
You can go if you want, yeah.
Okay.
Put the kettle on.
But it's very nice to talk to you, Doctor.
So nice to talk to you, Fran. My pleasure. So thanks so much. Okay.
All right, cool. And we'll have access to this recording, won't you? Because I haven't.
Yeah, I'll get it uploaded.
Yeah,
It'll be this afternoon, but I'll get it uploaded into Paul's folder so you'll be able to get it. Okay.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Take care. Okay. All right. Perfect.
Brilliant.
That
That was really
was
good.
so
Thanks.
helpful. Thank you for having her on. That was so essential.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Let's talk about, so where are you? You've got 2 or 3 emails written for that email sequence for Creatives Arise.
Yeah, I think that's gone quite well, actually, to be honest. I was quite pleased with the third one. It was really helpful you saying about the emotion thing. Yeah. I'm just a bit stuck. I think I probably need another 2. The other thing that was sort of, I'm part of this, I haven't cancelled this adaptive thing I'm part of. And I was just going over some training in there as well, which was quite helpful on email nurture lists and just some simple things like the first email should like check whether they got the email and what they're thinking. So I can improve all the emails, but it's really what the next 2 emails, are what they need to be about. I've lost a bit of impetus I lost a bit of impetus as well in terms of like sharing a little bit because I didn't want to overshare, but
no, let me tell you what, you want to feel like you are hammering the heck out of your people. They are not going to perceive it like that. And if they do, they're not people, Paul. Okay. It feels like you are in somebody's face all the time when you're doing the kind of marketing you need to do. And I'm always going back to, I'm like, God, really? Another email? And he's like, yeah, it's another email. They missed the first one because they were feeding the dog. The kids were screaming. Like, just keep going. Okay. Because not everybody, just like on Facebook, Paul, not everybody sees every post you do. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you follow Shay Bynes at all? Do you know who that is?
I know of. I don't follow her, but I
Okay.
I know what she does and stuff because you've had her on there.
She's in the middle of a launch for Grace Over Grind, her new edition of her book right now. She's posting 5 times a day about that. I see maybe
Right.
one of her posts. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I
She's
know
on the
Facebook is one of them.
bestseller list
Yeah.
in Amazon. Okay, this is what you got to do. I'm not saying post 5 times a day, but it's got to feel like you're in
Yeah.
somebody's face, in somebody's face, in somebody's
Okay,
face. It's
right.
not going to be to them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me, all right, so you've got the first 3 emails, and I know I sort of know them, but if you had to summarize, what is the first email focus?
Right. I'm just thinking backwards. So I know what the third email was
Okay,
about.
tell me about that.
The third email was. Let me just. My brain is a little bit overloaded. at the
That was
moment.
very much about your dream, right? Like,
Yeah. So it was
dream.
about. I'll just look it up. Actually, I've got it here.
Okay,
Actually,
yeah,
so
that's fine. Yeah.
I need to watch my battery of my laptop as well. It's getting a bit low. So
Okay, if you need to plug in, that's fine.
yeah,
You have a hard stop right at 10.
I'll tell you what, just as an aside, getting a new piece of kit has been amazing actually, because it's also released me to be writing elsewhere as well, because now I've got a proper laptop again. I can do it, and the battery lasts for ages. I can, it's little things like make a huge difference, don't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So the last one is discovering your purpose as a Christian artist, the mission of Creators Arise. It's more about the mission of Creators Arise and passion and purpose and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So I thought I'd dig into that because I really feel I feel emotional about that whole subject. The previous one to that is the power of community.
Okay.
And the first one is really, well, there is one that replies to them immediately, but the first email really is join Creators Arise and reach your full potential. So that's about what was that about really?
Yeah, so that's giving them kind of an overview of what it is.
Yeah, it's touching the main points. Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. So, all right, what you haven't yet focused on is what you want to do this course on, okay? Which is helping people to market and sell their art.
Oh, okay. The marketing and
Yeah. So I would do email 4.
Right. Yeah.
I think is perfect here's what you do. Look, you said you've been getting inspiration for this course. What are your, look at what your bullet points are for what you would be teaching in that. Take one of them and don't go into detail, obviously, but enough of a hook. And
that's really good because I've got, the structure I've got, which is basically the structure that I've felt was, I'll get the break on this now. Attention, because this has been formulating over months, and I've been taking in everybody else's stuff. I thought I need a simple blueprint that somebody can look at and could really get this really easily, because it's not easy. It was attention, presentation, and it wasn't offer. It was something to do with offer. It was basically the whole selling process. I forgot what the word. But those 3 structures, I've already got a course outline for those 3. And I'm also already teaching this. So I'm going to be doing this next week. I'm going to just introduce it in Creators Arise and talk about that structure, because what I've seen with creators is they have bits of it, but they don't understand that you need a funnel, basically. You need the 3 parts of that funnel.
No, they're not good with kind of sequence, and they're not good with concrete things. They're artists. Of course they're not. They're abstract and random, of course. So you've got to get them into a sequence, and you've got to get them more concrete. If you use the word, Paul, in that email, in Creatives Arise, I give you the blueprint for marketing and sales of your art. Holy cow, you are going to have people wanting to get in that. They love blueprints because to them, that means, oh my gosh, I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Cut the work.
I can look at this, take what I do, talk to God about it, and see how it fits in to the blueprint that Paul has already found out works. I mean,
and that was really good, because actually I really see the strength of this, because the whole vision for Creators Arise is to help them with their marketing and sales as much as everything else, and having a blueprint, and for me to focus on that and say, that's the way we're going. So that'll
Right.
really help on it. And I'll also test it out a bit and find out what really resonates with them and what doesn't.
Yeah. So tell the story about maybe even how
Yeah.
Lord showed you the blueprint, but do not give them the blueprint in this email. Okay.
Right. Yes.
Give them any of it in the email.
Yeah. Right.
They
So just
need
hint that there is a blueprint. Right.
There
Yeah,
is a blueprint. This is how God gave me the idea for the blueprint. When I've implemented the blueprint, here are my results of the blueprint.
yeah.
That is what they want. Don't give them the details until they come in and pay you 40 pounds a month or whatever it is for Creatives Arise. Okay.
Right.
All right.
No, that's really good. That's a greek incentive for this week, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's brilliant.
Work
Fantastic.
on that. And then email number 5, okay, is going to be a more in-depth version of email number 1. Okay, so you're sandwiching.
Right.
Okay, again, remind them of every single thing Creatives Arise membership does for them, right? Reference back to a key you gave an email 2, reference back to a key you gave an email 3, reference back to a key you gave an email 4. Okay, it's like the summary, like if you were given a talk, right? The summary.
I get it.
Here are your high points. This is why you need to join now, right? And then you can later, I do love this new Love Art group. I think that's a wonderful front end.
Yeah, it seems to have gone really well so far. Yeah.
For Creatives Arise, I think it's a great front end funnel for that. So I think, definitely that needs to be built up as well, but I would focus on the email sequence first of all. Just keep getting people in your Love Art group for now.
And just a question about the posting with the 21 reasons. But do I do the same email loads of time all the week, or I was doing like a subject and things. Is it good idea to have variety, or just do the same one for the whole week and then a different one for the next week? What do you think?
Oh, between the post and the email?
No, it's not the email. Sorry, I mean posting on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
in different groups.
Yeah.
So I'm promoting this 21 reasons.
Right. Yeah.
A different one every time, or the same one just posted over and over again in a week and then change it.
Oh yeah, no, stay on the same one each week.
Oh, okay.
And just alter the way you present it, right? Okay. So the way you present it is what you're going to alter, but don't you confuse people otherwise.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I get that.
And it's better for your brain too, for content creation, because then you can be like, this is the one reason we are focusing on this week. Here's like the 18 ways that, not that many, but the 3 ways that's, is helpful to you. One post for each of those kind of things, right? And then you stay focused, they stay focused. And you'll find out, obviously the posts, the email poll, those are longer term plays. So it's going to, just like I told you, it's going to build slowly and then it's going to skyrocket at some point, right? Is what's going to happen.
It's building like a foundation, not
yeah. So, the thing to get some rapid growth for you, but you're not ready for it yet, we'll do it maybe either next week or the week after in your session, is to do some sort of like fun event, like an hour-long thing, whatever, in your free group that's gonna gain excitement. People like the new, they like, that kind of stuff. And then you're gonna have boom, boom, boom. You're gonna have a bunch of signups to Creatives Arise on the back end of that.
I mean, it's interesting watching because I did that Love Art thing. Actually, just one thing you just said about going with the Holy Spirit thing. I thought I really do have this idea in my head. I thought I'm just gonna try it. Yeah. And I was interested because I've obviously got quite a good level of engagement in my community of artist friends, because the joining was so rapid. I'm thinking, all right, I wasn't quite prepared for how quickly people were joining. It was only 2 days and it was 50.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
What I noticed is that artists love to share what they do. They love to share.
They do. But one of the things you can do in there, Paul, is help them. And again, don't focus so much, just get people in there right now. Okay. Cause I need your
Yeah.
focus to be on these email sequences right now.
Mhm.
But as they post, right, you can help them like, what inspired this piece? You can come in with the
Yeah.
comments and questions to help them connect to the story. Because story is
Yeah.
what sells art. Art does not sell
Yeah.
art. Story sells art. People like the
Yeah.
heart, they like the purpose, they like what it
Yeah.
does for them, right? And so as they're posting, because most artists, as I've seen, they like just put their painting out there and they're like, isn't that
Yeah.
beautiful? And I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful, but I don't care because I want to know
Yeah.
where it came from.
That's what I've been
I
trying
want
to
to know
teach
how I'm
them.
gonna feel, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm
Yeah.
gonna pay you $4,000 for a piece to hang on my wall because it means something, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to help them with that. So that I think for Love Art, it will absolutely be a front end funnel for Creatives Arise, 100%.
I have a feeling as well. The other thing I was thinking about this as well in terms of vision for that, because I'm going to state quite clearly what's allowed and what's not allowed as well. And I was thinking, I don't want to be quite so Christian as well in some ways, because we're doing that everywhere else. So
I agree. It should be open.
Yeah, because actually, like the other group is very good for like prayer and stuff like that. But I don't feel this is for that. It's really for artists getting their art out there, having a conversation, bit of sales and marketing coming in there to help them.
No, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you can pray about this. I don't know that I would let people post links to sell within that, but they can showcase what they do. But I'll tell you what, like when I open vendors for this conference that we're doing, Paul, I have got so many people wanting to be vendors. People love to showcase, and they're mostly artists. Okay. They love to show their stuff. They love it. So I love this Facebook group you created.
I was just going to ask you, I mean, this is probably another conversation, but do you think I would fit into that vendor thing? I mean, I haven't 100%. Had really time.
Yeah, there's no cost to it. There's no downside to it. I mean, heck, I don't even ask people to buy a ticket to the conference if they don't want to. I mean, I just, so you don't have to do that. I mean, I think it's amazing and you should, but but yeah, I think, I think, yes, I think you should do a vendor. Even if Fran runs it, it's fine. Okay. Like,
say that again?
Even if Fran is the one behind the scenes.
Okay, that might be a good idea.
On the online. So you don't have to do, she's your get it done girl. So she can do that part.
So it would be Creatives Arise again, focused on that.
Yeah,
that'd be ideal, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
All we ask is that what you'll probably want to do is donate something to auction, right? Because you don't want to be giving us 10% of your sales of all your memberships. So yeah, just donate something for our auction. Okay. Whatever. And then
I mean, literally the thing is my brain has been so overwhelmed with all the things I've been doing.
I know. That's why I want you to focus, because the ideas, they keep coming, but the outcome is what you got to stay focused on. The outcome right now is building Creatives Arise. Anything that's in alignment that's going to help you do that, that's where you spend your time. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's really good. I'm hearing that from you. That's why I'm saying yes. Listen.
Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap us up today, but I'll get this. It'll be this afternoon when I have a break, but I'll get it uploaded.
No rush. That's no rush.
Okay. Yeah. And then, let me know. Feel free to keep sending those emails. I'm happy to look over them.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to overwhelm you with it, but it's quite helpful.
You're fine. It
captures my idea well, to be honest.
It takes me 5 minutes to look. I pray about it, and I'll get back to you. Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.